Welcome to the Empower Her podcast. I'm Deanna, an ex-corporate manager turned certified coach, empowering you to create the life of your dreams. My goal is to guide you and support you in understanding what you really want in life, what steps to take to get there, and learn to actually enjoy the ride. Whether you are climbing the corporate ladder, a stay-at-home parent, or an entrepreneur, I coach you on how to believe you are worthy of a balanced, happy, and energetically positive life in work and at home. My goal in this podcast is to help you recognize patterns, implement change, and use your energy for positivity within yourself and your own life. I believe you don't have to suffer in this lifetime. You can create a life on your terms based on what you want, regardless of what that looks like. It is about reframing your beliefs, letting go of negative thoughts, and looking at your life as a set of opportunities there for you. I'm so excited to get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Empower Her podcast. I hope everyone's having an amazing week. I literally can't believe it's August. I feel like I'm in an alternate timeline, or I couldn't wait for summer. I'm such a summer girly, and I couldn't wait for summer, and it's like already August. But with global warming, it's still going to be warm in September, but it's just crazy that it's already August. So I'm super excited about the episode today. I want to talk about a couple things before we dive into the topic. I had mentioned on my Instagram stories as well as my newsletter. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, go to my website and then you can join in the little pop-up box. I send that out every week. It's just been revamped. It's going to be really great, have a lot of great info. But I talked about the book I was reading last week, which was The Secret. And I know so many people have either read the book or seen the movie. I had not done either. I had just heard a lot about it. So I was like, you know what? I was already ordering a bunch of books from Amazon for my sister to bring me from the States because I live in Europe. So I try to, when she comes or someone comes, I always order a bunch of stuff and a bunch of books. So I ordered it as one of my books and I was like, I'm going to read it and see. And it was very interesting. When I posted it on stories, I got some mixed responses as well. So some people saying they loved it. And I also got some responses of people saying that, they didn't love it. So I just wanted to give my quick little review on The Secret. So overall, I think that it has a good overview of what manifestation is, how to manifest, and kind of what the law of attraction is. It's quite a short book, and I know a lot of people like short books, but I did feel like it just was lacking in information. It lacked the nuances. And again, if you're new to manifestation, you're new to this world of law of attraction, maybe you've never heard of those things, I think it's perfect for you, right? Like it's a perfect intro. It's perfect to get you started thinking about it. But as someone like me who's really been into manifestation and spirituality for many years, I just felt like it didn't really give me anything extra. It wasn't something that I felt was really like gave me any aha moments. Yes, it reminded me of a few things that I can think about, but it just didn't really give me that overall, oh my gosh, this is an amazing experience. And someone that I talked to on stories was also telling me about sort of how it's not super nuanced and it's not written in an inclusive way for, people of different backgrounds, right? Whether that's economic, social, whether it's the color of your skin. And I completely understand. It was written by a white woman, and many of the contributors to the book are white men on average. So I can understand why it wouldn't be inclusive. And I think that when we do talk about manifesting, when we do talk about law of attraction and everything that goes with it, we do need to have a nuanced approach, and we do need to make sure that it is going to be inclusive and that we look at it for every person, right? Like when I talk about manifesting with a specific person or a client of mine, I always try to tailor it to their specific needs because everyone's situations are different and they're going to need something different from the situation, and they're going to have to manifest in a different way. And then not to even mention, using your human design, understanding what type of manifester you are. Not everyone manifests the same way. So there's just a lot of things to consider. So again, if you are new to this world, you haven't really had a lot of information on manifesting, law of attraction, I definitely recommend it as sort of an intro. If you're super familiar, I'm not sure that, this would bring anything extra to your life. So that's my review on The Secret. In terms of any life updates, so recently, it's been summer. My sister was in town from the States. I was so happy to have her here. We spent a lot of time doing fun things with her and her boyfriend. So the last 2 weeks have really been just like prioritizing that. But something that was coming up for me that I wanted to share and I was talking to my boyfriend about this, is like I had this obsession with work. And this obsession with talking about my business and feeling stressed. And he literally said to me, he was like, what if you just didn't talk about it so much? And at first I was like kind of offended, because I was like, what do you mean you don't want to hear about it? But we talked about it, and he just mentioned that it seems like I'm just obsessed, but not in a good way. So I've done a podcast episode on deprioritizing your career, and this kind of goes hand in hand, but I've just made the conscious decision that I am going to deprioritize work. And I just talked about this with some of my coaching clients in a group session as well, is it doesn't mean doing less work. It just means not putting it as the focus. So I've decided that my life, my personal life, is going to be the focus. How I feel, my body, my health, my wellness, my friends, my relationships, fun things that I'm doing, especially since it's summer. That's my priority right now. That's what I'm focusing on. And then the work stuff is going to be secondary. I'm not going to put as much of a focus or an emphasis on it. And I've been doing this for about a week and a half now, and I've actually noticed a major difference. And I'm actually not working less, but because I'm deprioritizing it and not stressing over it, I've actually come up with creative ideas more easily, and things have just come to me. I have a notes folder in my app with like business notes and things that come to me for like podcast episodes or, my newsletter or whatever. And I keep writing in it. And it's very, very interesting, because I felt this uptick in creativity and sort of ideas just flowing to me, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't force yourself to be creative. I've talked about this. We know this. You cannot force it, right? But having the time and just the energy and space to just not focus on it actually allows you to get more creative ideas. So I've noticed that this has been really, really helpful for me, and I'm going to continue doing it, and I can check back in as well. So that's what's been going on with me. Otherwise, just enjoying the summer. I have a few weddings in August that I'm going to. It's going to be quite busy. So I'm just excited about that. Lots of fun things. And again, putting priority on that versus, not so much on the work stuff, even though, the amount of work is still going to be the same. But I'm definitely posting more on stories on Instagram, sharing more personal things. That's also been my goal and something that I'm working on. So you can let me know feedback if you think that that's exciting, fun, interesting, and also what else you want to see from me as well. So let's get into today's topic. I want to talk about this idea of putting yourself in a box, because I was really inspired because I basically was asked to be on a panel to speak about leadership and neurodivergence. And the person who is basically organizing it, we had a Zoom conversation and chatting, and we were discussing how we're describing ourselves, like how we describe ourselves as, individuals in what we do in our work. And we both sort of agreed that it's very hard to just describe ourselves in a sentence or say who we are in, one phrase, because it feels like we do so much and it's hard to say what we do. And I totally agree with that. And it's something that I've always felt like that I need to put myself in a box, because when I started my business almost 2 years ago now, especially when you're posting on socials and all those things, people are like, you need to niche down, like you need to be in a very specific niche. And while, yes, I understand why people say that when it comes to social media, and I do technically have a niche, I also have like so many other things, so many extra things that I'm good at that I just wasn't sharing, or that people didn't know I was doing in the background, right? And I want to share that multidimensional aspect of me. As I mentioned, I started posting more on social media. I'm talking more about personal things in the podcast as well. That's because I have a lot of interests besides neurodivergent coaching, and neurodivergent coaching is only one aspect of what I do, right? I do so many other things. I love astrology. I love human design. I'm super into manifestation mindset. I read a lot of books on health and wellness, right? Like I just read The Secret. Now I'm reading The Body Code. I read a lot about astrology and human design. That's something that I do use with my clients and talk to them about, right? It's not something that I share all the time on social media, but it is part of me and it is a really big aspect of my coaching and of my business. And I've been going through my own spiritual journey, right? And I don't talk about that as openly because I'm trying to fit into this niche, or I was trying to fit into this niche, right? And we just talked about how interesting it is how we feel like we need to be put into a box, but really we don't need to be put into a box. And the person that is going to want to work with you is going to understand that you're really multidimensional and that you have a lot of things going on. So yeah, you can say I'm an empowerment coach. That's usually how I introduce myself. It's a more broad term that I can use that really showcases who I am, or what I do rather, because who you are is not your job, but I'm so much more than that, right? And I see this with my clients, right? They come to me and they say, oh, I feel like I'm just not good at one thing really well. Like I'm just a jack of all trades, and that's a bad thing. And I'm always like, well, why is that a bad thing? Right? Like that's so cool. If you're a jack of all trades, that means that you're someone that's capable of being put into many different situations and figuring it out, right? It's someone that is able to adapt easily, someone that's able to work with a bunch of different people. There's nothing wrong with someone being a specialist either, but there's also nothing wrong with someone being a jack of all trades. We just want to find a role or find a job or find a career and opportunity that's actually going to utilize all of your skills and transferable skills. Because at the end of the day, it's a positive thing, it's not negative. But we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people and saying, oh, this person is so specialized in this one thing, and so I need to be specialized. No, you don't. No, you don't. We don't need to compare ourselves to other people. So we really want to understand that it's okay to not be put into a box, and we should be able to be who we want to be, right? So just an example, my personal example, when I started my coaching business, I talked about this at the beginning, but I was all about tactical strategies and tools to help people, right? But then when I was at parties or, get togethers, I would always end up talking about astrology. People loved it. They would literally sit on the couch in line to have me read their astrology chart. And we ended up talking about career and manifestation and all those things, but it was much more than just the coaching tools, the strategic and tactical tools to get your new job, right? Now we were talking about it from an astrological point of view. And so what I did is because I realized people love the astrology talk, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start talking about this with my clients and in my coaching. And guess what? The clients were obsessed with it. And now I host astrology specific calls. I read birth charts of my clients to understand their personality, and people absolutely love it. And I was trying to put myself in a box for no reason. I was like, oh, well, someone who, wants to work with me I'm their career coach. They don't want to hear about astrology and human design. Well, that's not necessarily the case. And yes, maybe all of them don't want to hear about astrology and human design, but the ones that want to work with me are going to be open to that because that's what I'm open to as well. And it's just like putting yourself in a box, I feel like honestly makes things harder because I felt like I really had to watch what I say, watch what I do, be really conscious of what I'm posting, be really conscious of what I say to clients. I felt like I couldn't use my full range of tools and skills in order to help my clients. So I actually think being in a box can hinder you and make things worse. And it also made me feel self-conscious because I felt constrained. As someone who's very multidimensional, I have multi-passions. It's in my human design as well, just to connect it back to that. But, just someone who is super multidimensional and has so many things that they love to do, I felt so limited. I'm someone that loves to learn. I'm someone that loves to learn more things, right? Like I'm a manifesting generator in human design. I have multidimensional passions at once. I'm also a 1-4. So the one is really me just wanting to learn and observe and gather and just absorb information. I'm just super obsessed with learning and absorbing information, right? And then teaching it to other people, building that community, right? It's literally in my human design. So of course, when I was putting myself into a box, I would feel constrained. I would feel like I'm not in the right place. I would feel like, this just isn't 100% me. It's a part of me, but it's not 100% me. So because of that, I honestly really struggled to show up on social media. And just until recently, like I didn't really share a lot of personal things on my coaching page, which I know is important and I want to share it and I want to share with people what I'm doing. But I always felt like, it wasn't something that people wanted, or I was scared of what people would think, right? And so, once I started talking about it and I started showing more of that side of me and showing personal stuff, I ended up getting more views, likes, and comments. And yeah, that wasn't necessarily the goal. I obviously just want to reach as many people and help as many people as possible, but it just showed that it really resonated with people more than I thought it was, right? They were more engaged because I was also being more myself. And this goes the same if you're in a 9 to 5 as well. If you're more yourself, you can get on different projects, works with different people, have a closer relationship with stakeholders. There's so many positive aspects that can come out of you showing your multidimensional nature that is really going to help you and is really going to support you. So really, something to ask yourself is, how can you explain what you do to people without putting yourself in a box? So I think that's what needs to be understood. And I just got to a point where I just explain myself, in a longer form. I don't just say, oh, I'm an empowerment coach. I'm an empowerment coach that focuses on career coaching for, neurodivergent, high achieving women. And I'm obsessed with spirituality, including astrology, human design, energetics, and I weave all of that together to support my clients, right? Like that's much more encompassing of what I do rather than just, I'm a career coach or I'm an empowerment coach or whatever it is, right? And it's about understanding how you can be authentically you, right? And really understanding. And it's so funny that we're talking about this topic because, as y'all know, it's Leo season. I'm a Leo rising, so I do have a lot of Leo energy, and Leo energy is all about shining and being yourself. And I have Leo in my first house, which is, all about myself and my theme. So it's just so on par with me just having this transformation right now of shining bright, showing myself, being more authentic, showing up better on social media, showing up more on social media, showing more personal side of me on social media. It's just really in line. And because it's Leo season, it's for everybody a good time to kind of shine more. Obviously, you can look at where Leo is in your chart if you have any prominent placements, but definitely something to look at. So with this, I just want to challenge you for the next 30 days, just 30 days, the month of August. Do not put yourself into a box. If someone asks you what you do, if you're at work and you're thinking of holding yourself back from a topic, if you're posting on social media, if you're trying to start your business, if you're in a group of friends, doesn't matter. For the next 30 days, do not put yourself in a box. Just let yourself be authentically you and see what comes out of it. And if you want to let me know, I would love to hear the feedback. I'm always so interested in how y'all are doing. I hope this episode was inspiring and very Leo-esque, very shining, bright energy, but I hope you loved it. Just a reminder that I have opened coaching slots for August and September as well. So if you'd like to work with a coach one-to-one to really support you, then definitely either DM me, email me, go to my website, and we can chat about putting a slot in for you so we can work together. All right, everyone, I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing first week of August, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And if you love this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a review. And of course, you can follow me at Coach Deanna DeBolt on TikTok and Instagram. I'll catch you next time.